Do flowers respawn? Don't starve in DST guide. Flowers come in surprisingly handy when playing Don't Starve and Don't Starve together. Flowers are especially useful for keeping your sanity up in tough situations. Flowers provide players with 5 sanity when picked, and their petals give 1 health when eaten. By having lots of flowers near your base or by the location you are currently in, you're somewhat guaranteed protection from the shadow creatures. To further help with sanity, 12 flowers can be picked to craft the garland, which will provide players with 1.33 sanity per minute. Of evil flowers, on the other hand, drain 25 sanity per minute or drain 5 sanity instantly when picked and when eaten. Dark petals can also be used to craft nightmare fuel, making evil flowers helpful for characters like Maxwell. Although, nightmare fuel can also be used to make Shadow Chester on a full moon. Flowers are also an essential part of running and supplying bee boxes and beehives. If all flowers cease to exist near a bee box or beehive, bees will no longer be able to produce honey. However, they will continue to go in search of flowers in the area, only returning home once they have found 6. Luckily for Don't Starve and Don't Starve together players, flowers are not stationary, and you will be able to create your own fields of flowers. How do you move flowers? Unlike other items in the game which do not crumble upon touch, flowers change state as soon as they are picked up. You would think that the intuitive thing to do is to plant the petals to see if they will grow. However, clay makes you go one step further. The only way you can plant regular flowers is to catch butterflies and plant them into the ground. Catching butterflies will require a bug net, which takes 4 twigs, 2 silk and 1 rope. You will not be able to prototype a bug net without a science machine unless you are Wickerbottom. Bug nets tend to be pricey, only having 10 uses, so make sure you know where you're going to be placing all of your new flowers before you catch your butterflies. If you're moving flowers because of bee boxes, place your bee boxes before flowers. There's no point in having flowers with no bee boxes or bees in the general area. Bees, in my opinion, are going to be the harder mob to keep alive by the time you place the bee box. Though, butterflies can be placed at any point, making placing flowers a more straightforward and postponable mission. Did a bee just plant a flower? Bees have the ability to plant flowers once they become homeless. Players can cause a bee to become homeless in 2 ways. Players can either destroy the home of the bee while the bee is away, or players can catch the bee in a bug net and release it immediately. Bees that are caught and released will never return to their beehives, bee boxes or make honey, which is why they are able to pick up the new task of planting flowers. The homeless bee mechanic is the mechanic that made me most excited when I discovered it. I'm sure you will experience or have experienced how tedious flower farming can be, so start using those bees. Similar to collecting honey, bees must pollinate 6 different flowers types before returning home, or in the case of a homeless bee, plant a new flower. Homeless bees will continue to search for another 6 flowers to pollinate after planting a flower, so they can plant another. If there are not enough unique flowers to pollinate in the area, a homeless bee will not plant an extra flower and will fly aimlessly or sleep on the ground. So, if you're trying to transplant flowers, make sure that there are enough unique flowers before releasing a homeless bee. Players cannot entirely rely on homeless bees to plant flowers, as bees are easily distracted and will stop working to attack you if you hit them or hit an allied bee. How do I get evil flowers? Evil flowers can initially be found around set pieces like the totally normal trees, things, or the wooden thing. Basically, evil flowers spawn around any set pieces that are key to Maxwell's storyline. Evil flowers can be further spread by pollinating evil flowers with homeless bees, following similar mechanics as mentioned before. Homeless bees must pollinate 6 unique flowers to plant another flower. The homeless bee must pollinate at least 1 evil flower to be able to plant an evil flower. If all 6 flowers that homeless bee pollinates are evil flowers, the planted flower will have a 100% chance of being an evil flower. Similarly, if a homeless bee only pollinates one evil flower, there will be a 20% chance that the planted flower will be an evil flower.